turn the microphone on here.
On my computer. Can you hear me, everybody? You can hear me just fine. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Listen, I want to talk about communication. And I think communication as a business owner is one of the number one skills that we must learn, we must master. Okay? And so if you're watching this right now, you're watching this on my social media, I'm communicating with you through video. The truth is, listen, if you want to be successful in a business, you got to learn how to communicate with the words that you say and the words you type, and know how to connect with people using words. And so this is something that I meet a lot of people. They have this fantasy belief that they will make money online without knowing how to communicate, without knowing how to talk, without knowing how to use words to connect with people, okay? And so this is a pipe dream. This is a fantasy. Some fantasy in their brain has convinced them that I can make money, but I don't have to talk to people. I'm sorry, but that's just it's a load of crap. It really is. It doesn't exist. And so if you're following me because you want to learn a way to make money without ever talking to people, I'm sorry, I'm not your guy. Go follow somebody who's going to lie to your face and convince you that that's actually possible. Okay? The rest of people that actually want to know how to make money and grow as a business owner, they have to learn to communicate. They have to learn to connect with people. They have to learn to use the words that they say to influence people, to take action, to do things, to get people to buy from them, to get people to move, to mobilize people. These are leadership skills. And so personal development, your people skills, your ability to connect and communicate and talk with people is a skill set that you can learn. I did not have this skill set at all years ago. There's a lot of people that met me years ago. I couldn't talk. I couldn't communicate. I couldn't get on the phone with people. I couldn't talk face to face. I couldn't talk on social media. The words, I had a lot of thoughts up here, but the words escaped me. I didn't have the words. I didn't know what to say. And so I had to learn how to actually communicate with people. And so if you want to build a business, you want to build a brand, you want to build something, you have to learn how to use the words and get the words from up here to out there in a way that people understand, that mobilizes them and gets people to move for you. Okay? And so I want to ask you one thing. What is the biggest thing stopping you from getting those skills? What is the biggest thing stopping you from connecting, communicating, talking, and learning how to talk with other people? And here's how I know that this is a problem. Because I had to send multiple emails out this past week to people on why their business was not working. And they asked me for advice, and I got nothing back from them. And the truth is, people literally lack the basic skill set of pressing reply to an email and saying words back to people. People lack the basic skill set of typing a comment out somewhere. Like, it escapes their brain to even be capable to write words on a screen. For whatever reason, that is. And this isn't to judge anybody on that. It's to say, my friends, if you have dreams, if you have goals to be a business owner, to be successful, learn to do the thing that you suck at right now. If words, you suck at words, you can't use words, you don't know how to use words out of your mouth and out of your fingers, learn how to. I had to teach myself how to. I had to learn how to use words, the written and verbal word, exactly. And yet I find constantly, and now the more that we're online, the more people are not using their words. They're not connecting. They're not communicating. And they're using it as a crutch. I'm afraid to talk to people. What are you so afraid of? Okay, so I get that. It's a real thing. I was afraid to talk to people. But you can work through that. You can solve that. You can grow in skill set and gain new skills to do what has terrified you. But why don't we do that? And so the truth is this, if you're watching me and you want to actually build a business, you want to actually be successful, becoming a master communicator is not optional. Learning how to masterfully communicate with the spoken word, with the written word, is not optional. And we use tools like Jasper, uses artificial intelligence to help us write things when we don't know what to come up with, okay? But it's not an option to say, oh, I'm just not that good at words anymore. I'm serious. You can get away with that in other parts of life. It's fine. If that's you, I'm not judging you for that. I am judging you for it if you're a business owner, somebody building a brand, a business, and you've said, I want to build a business on the internet and build a community, and then you use that as a crutch and an excuse. Oh, I'm just not good with words. I'm just afraid to say the wrong thing. Get new skill sets. Learn what you don't know. Okay? And so for me, the biggest thing that actually helped me grow in communication is I read books on leadership. I read books on getting past fears, my mindset. It's the mental game. See, we're afraid of saying the wrong thing is usually what it is. We're afraid of putting ourselves out there and appearing a certain way that's less than perfection. And so that's why we won't do it. See, it usually has nothing to do with we don't know what to say. When we're with our best friends, we know exactly what to say, and we're unfiltered, and we're not worried to say the wrong thing. But then when it comes to social media or the internet or building a business, for some reason we have zero words and are incapable of ever opening our mouths to say anything. But that's not the truth. And so you can learn to do what's uncomfortable for you. I treat every conversation I have online like I'm talking to a friend, like I'm talking to somebody that I'm familiar with, even if I've never met you before. And I don't give a moment of worry what any of you think about me. At all. Ever. I don't fear saying the wrong thing. If I say the wrong thing, if I mess up, if I go blibbity boobity blah blah blah, and I say stupid stuff, who cares? We got too built up in our brain that we got to be perfect all the time. We've convinced ourselves that we have to be a perfectly packaged way or do nothing. Learn communication skills. Another great book, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. I literally refer these books in every training that I do, by the way. There's a reason I refer the same books so often, because they help with these things. If you want to get better at sales, The Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort, I'm telling you. But your own self-esteem, your own personal self-esteem, belief in yourself, and not being worried what anybody thinks about you, that's the true unlock, cheat code, if you will, to actually learning to communicate. Is we're not afraid of other people's perceptions of us. Like right now, I'm not afraid if you're watching this and you hate my guts for it. Had that happen last week. Had a lady rip into me about how dishonest, unethical, immoral, and disgusting I was to her. For even suggesting to use artificial intelligence to help with writing for marketing. That's fine. That's her story. That's her experience, right? I don't even want to invalidate that. She's probably been through a lot. Maybe she got scammed by somebody that used AI. I don't know. When we learn to communicate, it's not just about wanting you to know what I mean, but it's about understanding what another person means as well. And when we learn how to really communicate and have empathy, and we remove judgment, and we're not afraid of how we look, and we're not afraid to say the wrong thing, and we're not trying to manage and maintain another person's emotional well-being by saying the right things so that they like us and are happy. Cut that crap out. That may have been trained in you for a long time. like it was for me. You got to do all the right things to make sure so-and-so is not angry, right? No longer do we need to live our lives that way. No longer do we need to live our lives just to make others happy and to please other people. And so when we can learn how to communicate, and we're not afraid of the response we get back, that's the thing. I communicate to you, you give me a response that is like hurtful, I accept that in you. I don't need to change that in you, and I don't take it in on me. See, that's why, my friends, when we cut out this crap where we literally find our identity based on what other people think about us, it's impossible to communicate. Because we're trying to so much control all of that. When you can work through in your head and you're not afraid of what response you get back from somebody, from what you say. You're not afraid of the consequences of showing up authentically and boldly. You're not trying to manage and maintain the ramifications of possibly making a mistake. And you don't exist in that framework of mind. And you are just yourself, authentically and boldly genuine at all times. Communication becomes very fluid. Very simple. And so one of the biggest parts about communication, it's not about saying the perfect thing. My friend, you got to get it out of your brain that there's perfect little words that you say that make people do stuff. That doesn't exist. Okay? The closest thing to that is maybe the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Okay? That's probably the closest thing to that. But that still is not that. It's like a framework of 48 different ways to position yourself to have more power in situations. But it has nothing to do with the words you say. You're saying the same words. Okay? And so here's the thing. Like, I meet people. They have these goals in business. They have goals to build a community on social media. And yet they literally can't come up with any words to say. Constantly. And I talk to them. I get on coaching calls with them. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And it all comes back to fear of not being good enough. Of it not being good enough to let it leave our mouths. Start accepting that you are good enough and that the words that you say are good enough, and stop questioning that they're not based off of what other people have told you about. And stop calling it wisdom and prudence. Let me pause there. Wisdom and prudence are very important. A wise man holds his tongue. I agree with that. I use that often in business interactions, especially when I'm meeting somebody brand new. Okay? I listen more than I speak. But it's not out of fear. See, wisdom and prudence don't operate out of fear and worry. They're not influenced by terrorism. They're not influenced by the terrorizing thoughts of what might happen if I say something wrong. Wisdom and prudence aren't the same thing as fear, suspicion, and worry. They're just not. And we have to completely detach thinking that those two things are connected with each other. And that's going to help you, my friends, learn to communicate, learn to be a powerful communicator. Some of the books that I mentioned, like I said, 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. I actually do recommend that book. It's an interesting book because some of it is ways that you could use to manipulate people, but I do believe that we should know what these things are to know how other people might be acting as well in our lives. And I find it's very fascinating. Like every single system that there is power structures, the 48 Laws of Power exist. They're not really good or bad. Some of them could be. I don't agree with all of them, but it's very interesting to find out. The 21 Laws of Leadership. This is a little bit of a better book, a little bit more of a lighter reading. John Maxwell, about how to lead people effectively. It's not about controlling people, by the way. Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. The Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort, if you want to become a better sales communicator. People skills and learning to communicate are vital to becoming a successful business owner and making the kind of money that you want to make and building the kind of community that's going to create the life that you want. So you have to learn to become a better communicator, even if it's not natural to you. All right, everybody? Let me know in the chat what you're doing to grow to become a better communicator. write me a DM. And listen, if you want to coach with me one-on-one for your business, if you're a coach, course creator, author, trainer, and want to grow and get more results, I'd love to talk with you. Send me a DM. You can schedule a 45-minute discovery call at my website where we can talk about doing one-on-one coaching together in your business. As well, if that's not for you, listen to my podcast. Over 158 episodes of the Grow Your Life podcast. All the things that you could imagine about growing in your life, your mindset, your business, and strategy to reach more people on that podcast. We'll talk soon, everybody. Have a good one.